Hi, I was so excited about looking at these pictures. I just had to share them with you. There are thousands of them, so I'm not going to go through all of them, but I spent a little time going through these pictures and oh my gosh, so many memories. So, since I don't know if you'll ever go with me to Fairfield so I can take you to this park, but I just needed to show you these pictures because they have a story to tell, a history, and you may or may not be that interested in my history in Fairfield, but it just brings back memories of bringing my kids to the park when they got old enough to hike it. Laura was about 7 and Mark was 9 when I finally took them there. They loved it. They went crazy. And then, of course, in the martial arts, we were always running these trails. And on my own, I would go up there to run the trails or just do a hiking. I think the longest time I spent hiking up there was 3 hours. I was heartbroken with someone that I had fallen in love with. I think I told you about Rich. And so that was my comfort to go there whenever I was stressed, not just heartbroken from that time, but whenever I was stressed, I would get up there and just walk it or run it out. And these are taken in either winter or spring. I believe it's springtime. Usually in the winter, it was foggy and rainy. But I'm just going to take you through a few pictures here just to show you. There's no way for me to enlarge it. There's no enlarging tool. So it's going to be a little small. But anyhow, this is one of the views when you get up to almost to the top. And this is one of the two lakes that are there. This is a migration pathway for the geese and the ducks who are migrating from north to south and back again. So this is a good landing spot for them. It's really cool to see the groups of them just come in for a landing. It's just so amazing. I'm sure you've seen that. But anyway, this is what some of the trails look like. And I'm just going to go through and they'll start looking familiar or repetitive after a while. This is the other lake, I believe. There's a smaller lake and there's a larger lake. But anyway, this is some of the view as you start going up the top. This is a typical view of one of the trails. A lot of people on their bikes go through here, cross-country runners, people with their dogs and kids, and of course, us hikers and joggers, or hikers and runners, I should say. So here's another view of the lake. It looks like the lake was a bit empty, or maybe this is just a river that's formed that doesn't look familiar. And this is the rocky, smoothed out place that I told you about. It comes from on the right side as I'm pointing. The trail wraps around the mountain and then it comes through here. So this is not tricky, pretty easy to navigate, to negotiate, running through here. Okay. And as you are hiking the trails, you can see the cliffs. And I used to like to hike all the way to the top. And on the other side, there's this row of boulders that you can sit and look through the Fairfield Valley there. Okay, so let's see here. This is the very top, the trees and all that. Now, this is the cave I thought that Laura and I used to go to, but as I saw more pictures, I realized this was a different cave that I never knew was there. And so it's not easy to get to that one, but the other one I'll show you. And then I know it's the springtime in this picture because of all the flowers that bloom. Really beautiful, breathtaking, aromatic. So yeah, oh, this is a good one of a good perspective of one of the trails. So, they wrap around and they're kind of steep and they come uphill. They go up and down all the time. And they go all the way up to the top of the mountain. And then here's some of the flat spots. People love to come down here. The kids used to love to come down here. They went crazy when I brought him here. There's another, I think it might be that same cave. And I never found out why these trees are red. I don't know if their bark is red, doesn't look like it, or maybe they froze. I know my bay tree froze to death and it all turned red like this. So I don't know why they're like that. I'll have to research that. Okay, here's another one, another trail. So yeah, the trails can get pretty tricky, sometimes, and you have to slow down a bit, but when you get used to it, It's no problem. Beautiful California. Some of the trails are really easy. They're so nice. And these are the live oak trees. They're all over California. And I lived on Live Oak Court. Isn't it beautiful? California is so rugged. It's rocky and rugged and tough, but it just has its own beauty. There's some more of the trails, as you can see. Some of them are downright slippery. I told you about the time I did the splits on one of them. I just slipped on the rubble and I just did the splits. And Haven was with me that time and the kids, and he said, "Did you see what she did?" He was amazed. Back when I could do the splits. And this is another cave. This isn't the one Laura and I went to, I don't think. I mean, the terrain changes, right, over the years, so it's hard to tell. Doesn't look like the same because the one we went up, it had a lot more mountain behind it, you know. And so, yeah, there's a lot of picnic tables along the trail. Okay, this is the one. Actually, no, because this has two caves. This one was a larger cave, but the climb up there was similar to this one. Man, if I could have this tree on my permaculture farm, it'd make a great hugelkultur. Fairfield is just so beautiful. So here's some of the rocks I was telling you about, but if it's on a downgrade, you've got to be really careful. And also on a black belt run, I was going downhill. I was finishing the run and I was in a hurry to get finished. And they I tripped, did a forward roll, landed on my feet, and kept going. It was great. I thought, oh, wow, I can't believe I did that. When I reached the bottom of the hill, everybody's going, Esther, what happened to you? You're covered in dirt, you know. So they got John Becker's ex-wife. She was his wife at the time. She got her blanket out of the car and was dusting me down, and we all ran over to the smoothie shop. And I was still pretty dirty, but it was great. One of the views of the valley. Maybe we never saw this one. Maybe we just I don't know, from the trail at the bottom, it's got to be a different cave. It looks familiar though. I don't know if these things form later or what's going on here. But yeah, this is they have walls. You know, I loved going up to the top and looking out. And this is one of the views for sure. Laura and I didn't go on that one. Can't make this out. Looks like a wall. I don't know the perspective. It looks like it's a close-up cliff and then you see the trees in the distance. I don't know. And the wildflowers, oh, they're so pretty. So this is what from the street you come in and you park it. There's you know, a dirt parking lot and cars just line up on the weekends. And so there's cars all the way around here. And then if your back is to the fence and you look out to the street, there's a lot more parking there. But you know, it was a once it filled up, you'd have to park on the street up and down Rockville Hills Road. But yeah, at one time they had a huge sign up here that said, "Warning, mountain lion and her cubs are here. Do not disturb them," or something like that. But it never fazed me. I went running anyway and hiking, and we did our black belt runs anyway. Never ran into them. They were probably hiding out in one of those caves, sleeping during the day, you know. There's some more coming up here that I wanted to show you. People used to like to climb the trees. Oh, this is a great view. God, this brings back so many memories. Okay, this is at the top of the hill, and I call it the Donnie Summit because Donnie and I were the only ones that could make it up the switchback that takes it all the way up to this part. And this is like, a sign of where you are and all of that. My hugging tree was off to the right. I don't see any pictures of it, but it's a curved tree. And she was just so beautiful. I used to say hi to her all the time, especially when I was alone. I would just give her a big hug and thank her for being there, that kind of thing. Then off to the left, there are public restrooms, the only public restroom in the whole park. Uh, so anyway, you have to really do some steep switchback running to get to this part. So yeah, I mean, we would take off either this way, that way. They eventually built some houses, unfortunately. And then this direction we would always take to get all the way around the park. More wildflowers. And it looks like someone finally put some trail names to some of these places. But yeah, I mean, there was a trail similar to this coming down the hill where I did a forward roll, and the famous forward roll. And this was one of my favorite spots. It looked like a camping area, just a wild place to set up camp for the night kind of thing. It had a shelter. There's no cave there, but it's much larger than it looks. Wildflowers, wildflowers. And I have never seen lemon balm. This is lemon balm, or called Melissa. And this is the tea that they had the Boston Tea Party. They threw over the ships, right? So the Boston Tea Party contained this tea. I'm coming up. Okay, this one, this is the hill that is really steep. You have to really climb up. There's not really much of a trail that goes to it, but it's really steep all the way around it. And this is at the very top. And when I was doing my one of my walks, actually, I was on a walk because I was just feeling really weird, like something was watching me. I was being watched, and I'd never had that feeling before at this park. So I felt like I was in danger, actually. And then as I was walking past it, I didn't see anyone on it, right? I walked past it some more, and I looked up, couldn't have been more than a few seconds, and there was this massive, gigantic man, very obese, sitting there reading a big book. And to this day, I believe it was the Bible. He had scraggly black hair and a massive black beard, and he was so peaceful sitting up there just reading the Bible. And I felt safe after that. I did not feel like I was in danger. So I think it was a guardian angel. My guardian angels they have black hair. And then I read about these large beings. Other people have had accounts where they were saved and they were made safe. This couple was riding their brand new red 4x4 Ford truck on a beach, and the tide started coming in, and these two large, very tall men with scraggly beards and black hair came and asked them very gruffly, "Do you need help?" And so they pulled the truck out of the water. And so they were able to get out of there in time. I mean, these beings apparently appear to people. I don't know, there's been other stories, but that was my experience. It was uncanny, unbelievable. Okay, this one enlarged. For some reason, this one enlarges. But okay, so this one on the opposite side, if you were to turn around, 180 degrees, is the lake. And the kids used to feed the ducks, and the ducks would go crazy. They would feed them their apples, and I would say, "Okay, now you've done it." So we'd have to get up on the benches. Otherwise, the ducks would get pretty aggressive with the kids, and they would nip at their heels to give them more apples. So we'd have to climb up there, and I'd have to chase them off eventually. There's that same one. Sorry. Okay, I don't know where this was at. So here's a trail. They go all over the place. They just, you have to know your way around. Otherwise, you can get lost. People have gotten lost in there. It's a foggy day. I haven't seen fog since I moved to Arizona. Another photo of the bottom of the where the parking lot is. And this is must be a migration time when the cranes and the geese come through here. There's a couple of pictures I want to show you. This isn't going to last forever. Some farmers were ranchers were allowed to bring their cattle through to make sure that in the summer, there was no fire hazards. So they did a pretty good job of mowing down the grasses. It all turns brown in the summer, or I should say gold. I lived near Gold Hills Park, which is an extension of these hills that went in past my through my neighborhood. This looks like a drought season. So this is one of the, steep inclines that you have to really negotiate when you're running up here to pick your way up. Yeah, wow. I never knew that they finally named them. That's great. Mallard, other types of ducks, I guess. This is an herb, I believe. It's not dandelion, or it could be a very mature dandelion. No, no, it's not. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. I know it's one of the liver cleansing herbs. Great rock formations a kid used to love to climb up on. This is one of the most saturated allergy areas in the world. So a lot of people suffered allergies, but the kids and I never had any problem with it, thank goodness. I mean, okay, one time there was a whole bunch of cows sitting under a tree, and the kids and I walked by. I didn't notice them at first. They just blended right in. And so this was in the summer. The cows were, light golden hues and browns and such. And so they blended right into the terrain. The kids never noticed them. I didn't want to alarm them. It was one of their first times they'd come with me to the park. And so I never mentioned it. And we walked right in front of them and they never saw them. It was really funny. This is home to me. This park was just home to me. Yeah, I used to go running here when I first got together with Andy, and we ran together here all the time. And he actually injured his knee in a terrain similar to this somewhere, and his knee was never the same after that. He never recovered because he didn't eat properly. And I, was was always telling him, "You can recuperate from this. You don't need surgery." So he was okay for many years. He did recuperate somewhat, but again, he didn't eat properly, so he didn't mend. And he did have knee surgery eventually. Aren't these beautiful? They're so aromatic. It's just gorgeous. Who would take a black and white photo of this? It's a video too. That's strange. They have so many different mushrooms here. And our share of lizards. This is one of my favorite views that overlooks the valley. You can see the freeway in the distance. That's the I-80. This is the trail that leads all the way back to the parking lot, but you have to wrap around this mountain back here to get through those smooth rocky areas that I told you about, and it eventually goes right into the parking lot again. So then they started building houses, which pissed us off. It pissed off the whole entire community, and they were going to build more houses all over. There was real estate developers that wanted to turn the whole park into a housing project, but the city people stepped in and they said, "No, you don't." So it halted it, and I hope that it continued that way. Haven't been there, so I hope it didn't continue. I think that was all that I wanted to share with you. This is a great video view. of the entire valley. Let me see if I can pick out some buildings here. So there are, this used to be all a green field, giant field. The kids and I used to, Paul used to go there, and he would set off the rockets. And, we'd invite the neighbors, we'd all go see Paul set off the rockets that went high in the air, and the kids loved it. But then they started eventually building industrial complexes. And so that whole area was taken up by buildings. So we live off to the right, and you know, you travel down the Lopes Road and it goes into our neighborhood. Feel the waterfalls. Love this trail. Goes to the lake. Another picnic bench. They're scattered everywhere. You have to know where they are. So it looks like someone moved their, what are those, goats? Or they're not sheep, they're goats. So I never saw goats when I lived there, but apparently goats are also great for cleaning up the terrain. Okay, now this is one of the rocks where I used to sit, and where she's facing is the entire valley. So I just sit up there and meditate, lay on the rock, absorb the sun, absorb the electrons. And it was a quiet place. There were other boulders nearby that people would come and have some alone time. It was really peaceful. I loved it. This is at the parking lot, grassy areas on the side there. This is a new road. They've improved the road a lot. You can see some of the buildings from the shopping center as you approach the direction of the park. Somebody's swimming pool in the housing area. Really nice houses. They must be worth, 3, 4 million by now. So this is a great vista. I like the topographical maps. They tell you, the different elevations. This is not in Fairfield. I don't know who stuck this in here, but we do not have seals in that park. Must have been in San Francisco or somewhere. Two huskies. One of the homes in that neighborhood. How dare they? So when I lived there, there were no windmills in Fairfield. In fact, people were opposing them. But apparently, when I went back there in 2017, I noticed a few being put in there. There were already a few, but now this must be, okay, this was 2 years ago. They added even more. It is a very windy corridor, definitely windy, but they're not sustainable. I really miss that fog. I think that was all the ones that I wanted to share with you. It just keeps going on and on. I started scrolling. I thought, when is this going to be ending? I guess people, this is pretty recent, 3 months ago. So yeah, they brought the goats in. And there's snakes. There's poisonous snakes there. I don't know if this is poisonous. It's cute. How could it be poisonous? I don't know if it's a rattler. I can't see the end of it, but yeah, they do have snakes there. I never saw snakes though. All those years in Rockville, I never saw the snakes. Another cave, not mine and Laura's. Mushrooms galore. I can't identify this. It looks familiar. I'll have to look in my book to see if it's one of the medicinal herbs that I researched about. Streams everywhere. I love the way the streams form. Now this, I could totally live on a piece of land like this where a stream like this runs through it. I've been looking at properties in Idaho where it features streams going through the property. You have to have a water source. Okay, what's that? Looks like some kind of water catchment feature. Yeah, strangely, I don't know how old these walls are, but they apparently have been there for a very, very long time. Okay, I think that was all I wanted to share. All these different spots that bring back all these memories. You know, they have a story to tell with either the kids and I or the black belt runners. And our share of beautiful birds, flora, these trails, awesome trails. Somebody planted some amusements there. I don't know what that is. Is that a skateboard? Can't be a skateboard. Oh, wait, that's part of the bicycle. That's like a meter or something. Okay. Okay, this is the rock that was Laura's favorite boulder. She stood about this tall, so she would climb up on it. Little goat. I could never get up on this thing. And Mark didn't try either. But she was always able to climb rocks like that. She still can. Last time I took her up to the mountains locally here, she still a little climber. And apparently they have truck rallies here on that smooth, huge rock formation area that I, mentioned. Never saw any truck rallies there, but apparently they do now. That's terrible. How noisy is that? How polluting is that? More of the cattle doing their job. California poppies, they're all over the hillsides in the springtime, massive amounts. Now, this is such a cutie. All right, I think that will do for now. Oh, some of these herbs, they're amazing. All righty. I think that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Yeah, I remember when TJ in Sedona, when he saw piles of rocks like this, he said they were some from Sasquatch. And the research that I've been coming up with on the Sasquatch, the people coming forward claiming that they're higher dimensional beings and they mean no harm and they're here to help humanity. It's interesting. Could very well be. Who knows? I mean, who has the patience or the time to hunt for rocks that'll balance perfectly like that? I don't know what meaning they actually have, but it's pretty ethereal. Our white sun is no longer yellow. It's transforming, emitting its EMFs all the time. Oh, I want one. Yep, I think that was it. I mean, this is at the point where, oh, that's a good picture of the mallard. It was at the point where, oh, wow, I didn't go this far. I don't see a rattle. Do you? Is that a rattle? Doesn't look like a rattle. Could be. Wow. Okay. Never saw one of those. Thank goodness. I should bring my truck up there. Woohoo! I've done that before. Four-wheel drives are amazing. I keep saying that's it. But, I'm looking for other memories. And yeah, this is where you enter. You come around the mountain and I fell way down, way around the mountain here. That's where I did the forward roll, which is why I was disappointed in myself when I actually did a palm, splat up at the mountain that you and I hiked at in Phoenix. I'm trying to recall the name right now. But anyhow, you know which one. I didn't do the forward roll. I was out of practice, I guess, and I could have just kept on going. It was a much easier terrain, a trail up there than it was here in Rockville. But anyway, you knew you were in the home stretch once you negotiated all those rocks and went through. I think there's more. Yeah, there's more because the parking lot is way down here. Oh, that was home to me. Will always be home to me. Where am I? Funny. Okay. I think that's it for now. Gosh, there's so many more. It just goes on and on. I was scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. But anyhow, I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for letting me share it with you.